Good morning. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I see a lot of you are in the flavor of it all with your green. Did you also know that it's St. Gertrude's Day? Oh my gosh, St. Gertrude. She's German, but we won't hold that against her today. She is the patron saint of gardens and cats. So, meow. Anyway, this next song seems like a goodbye song, but it's just an ending of the prelude song. And it's the ending of our Irish prelude song. So if you'd like to join me in it, you may know it. Here we go. Now for sure you get to sing along with me. You want to stand and we'll have a little fun. Some easy fun. First two lines. Whoa, the Spirit of God is upon me. 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 I used to think that I had to. I used to think that I should. Spipster told me that I had to be good. But now I love because I want to. I love because I am free, blinded by the Spirit. Oh Lord, the Spirit of God is upon me. Yes, it is. Whoa. The Spirit of God is upon of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. I thought it was my duty. I thought it was my job. Somewhere I believed that loving God would be hard. But loving God is ecstasy. Loving God is wonderful. Thank God for my freedom. Let me tell you that the Spirit of God is upon me. Yes, it is. Whoa. The Spirit of God is upon me. 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 Can you feel it? Whoa. The Spirit of God is upon me. Whoa. Yes.
I just love that song. Although, when Julie took off her shawl as she was singing, I was completely lost because then I didn't know when to clap. So, anyway, I'm glad everybody's here today, and naturally, I want to wish you happy St. Gertrude's Day. No, I wanted to wish you happy St. Patrick's Day. Yeah. You know, it's just kind of fun, isn't it? Just to have a good time, dress up in green. Doesn't matter if you're, if you're black or white, or if you somebody came from Portugal today. And one of the things I liked was somebody just a few minutes ago was telling me when they walked inside, the first thing they noticed was there were no coats hanging up on the coat rack. So it is a beautiful day, and we're really glad that you're here. I asked Geraldine if she'd come up and light our candle for us. And as she does that, of course, it's this great reminder that the divine spark of God is deep inside of us. It's deep within us. Thank you, Geraldine. Thanks. I think it is interesting how the Spirit of God shows up in all sorts of different ways, how the Spirit of God is just there for us whenever we turn to that awareness, that knowledge. Yesterday we had a memorial service in here. Well, that's all why we have all the flowers. And it was just another demonstration that in all sorts of ways, the Spirit of God just shows up and is always there. All we have to do is become aware of that fact. One way of becoming aware of that fact is through our use of prayer. And we try and demonstrate our commitment to unity to prayer in a couple of ways. So one way is with the prayer requests. So we have this vessel right here. You can fill out a prayer request and place it in here. And then what happens is I pray over it for a week, and then Simone sends it back to Unity Village, and there it's prayed over for a month. So lots of prayer energy coming in on those prayer requests. And the second way that we try and demonstrate our commitment to prayer is with our prayer chaplain program. So could I have the prayer chaplains for today stand? So we have David at the back, and we have Simone over here. And so one of them will be in my office right after the service. The other one will be in the meditation room at the end of the hall. And if you haven't prayed with somebody, there's something special about that. Would you join me in prayer? So first of all, let's just breathe. And even before I start the prayer, let's just take a moment to choose to be here. We have so many things going on. For the next hour or so, let's just choose to be here, and we'll hear the music and we'll hear the message, and more than anything, we'll just be with one another. So, Spirit of God, we open our hearts to prayer. We open our hearts to your very being. Soothe our souls. Touch our hearts. Please open our eyes so that we can see the Spirit of God in all people and in all experiences. Because it just makes us better. It helps us grow. And it just helps us touch what's real. And so we say, thank you, God. And so it is. So it is. Amen.
Oh, you get to sing again. Yay. You want to stand? We're going to do an oldie called I've Got Peace Like a River. There's some hand movements to it, too.
Got to be in the spirit of things. Good morning, I'm Dennis Burkhart, your celebration assistant for today. Welcome to the Unity Center of Spiritual Growth, where all people who wish to worship here are welcome. We strive to live, love, and uplift lives. We are an inclusive and affirming church. We bless people of all races, sexual orientations, colors, political beliefs, or anything else that you or they may have been judged on in the past. We simply welcome everyone who wants to pursue their spiritual path. Let me introduce our musicians today. Julie O'Cruteau, Sherilyn O. Erilyn Moore, Jim O'Turner, Jim O'Sullenberger in the green hat back there, Brian O'Wright, and Joe O'Ornelius. And thanks to everyone who makes this Sunday service happen. Without all the volunteers that we have, this would not be possible. If we have somebody here for the first time today, we would like to thank you for being here. We are glad you're here and come and join us, and we hope you have a great time. We have a welcome packet if you're brave enough to raise your hand, and an usher will bring it around. You can let us know you're here by clicking the Connect with Us button if you're live streaming today, and the request for information by clicking the Connect with Us link. It's available on the Synopsis tab in the website streaming window. So, hopefully you all saw the announcements describing the upcoming activities and events from the service. If not, they're listed in your program and on the website. Please join us and get involved. See, the new messages are coming in regularly. Let me draw your attention to a few of the announcements, however. March 24th is our Palm Sunday service. It combines biblical passages with songs from the Broadway musical Jesus Christ Superstar to retrace the final steps that Jesus took on his path to liberation. This special service features a talented ensemble of musicians, singers, along with the Reverend Dennis Ashley, who will tell us his age-old story that kicks off Holy Week. Acrylic painting class is a fun opportunity to learn basic painting and composition. Classes take place on the first and third Wednesdays. The classes take place from noon to 2, and all paints and supplies are provided. The initial project will be an awesome spring piece. Self-expression is highly encouraged. Class is $25 per session. There's a knit, crochet, sew class for a cause is a new community group with the purpose of creating handmade items for local charities. This group meets on Thursdays from 10:30 a.m. to 12 in the fellowship hall, and it's facilitated by Blossom Masters, who is raising her hand. Family Promise of North Idaho is having a Hawaiian-themed benefit dinner on Friday, April 19th at the Best Western Inn. Tickets are $75 for a night of good food and fun. All proceeds go to helping homeless families in our area. Unity Spiritual Center of North Idaho has purchased a table. Please let Tammy Savage know if you'd like to seat at the table. Tammy's raising her hand, so if you'd like a seat.
Let me know, we've got one seat left at our table, but I can always get another table.
Now that's a table of 8 or 10?
8.
8. Since an increasing number of us don't carry cash or checks, go figure, right? We are now using PayPal. Using it on your cell phone is a convenient way to give. For details on how to access PayPal, grab the flyer in the hallway or go to the Give Me page on our website. And finally, the Unity book sale has been restocked with new inventory. So check it out. Each book is only $1. If you'd like to donate books you no longer want, feel free to bring them. If you have questions about the sale, see Jenny Taft. Jenny, are you here today? Nope.
She's on vacation.
Traveling. All right, it's that time where you need to meet and greet someone old and someone new. We'll ring the gong when it's time to head back to your seats. We'll fake it. Okay. Okay, all you leprechauns, have a seat. Every Sunday, we have someone from the congregation read our blessing for the meditation. Today, it's Kathy O. Ornelas.
When I taught elementary school, I had someone give me a card, only they said, "Oh, Nellis." They said, "Oh," and then apostrophe, "Oh, Nellis." So I thought that was, I always remember that. Anyway, life comes to us all. When it arrives at our doorstep, sometimes it brings good experiences, sometimes difficult drama. Occasionally, it brings some very hard, grief-filled situations. When that happens, as it does to us from time to time, just know you can always turn inward to the presence of the Spirit of God within you. And when you do that, you can rest in the unconditional love that is always available to you. You and I are so blessed to have the perfect grace from the Spirit of God, ready to soothe our hearts and dry our tears. And so it is, God. So it is. Namaste.
Now is the time for you to just relax and prepare for meditation. And if you'd like to sing along, the breath of God. The breath of God is breathing me and resting in the breath of God. I know that all is well. The joy of God is joy in me, and resting in the joy of God, I know that all is well. The love of God is love in me, and resting in the love of God, I know that all is well. The grace of God is grace in me, and resting in the grace of God, I know that all is well. The breath of God is breathing me and resting in the breath of God, I know that all is well.
So let's take a few minutes now in meditation. I invite you to close your eyes if you like, and let's just turn inward. And if you're new to meditation, it's nothing more than getting quiet and turning inward and connecting with that part of us that's soft and sweet and gentle, sacred, and is a part of the Spirit of God. So let's just breathe, breathing in and breathing out. And we breathe in, we breathe in the breath of God. And that holy breath, that spiritual breath, it touches our heart and it just fills us. it fills us, and we realize that in good times, in difficult times, the breath of God is just a moment away. It is the Ruach of God. The Ruach is that Hebrew word for the breath of God. And the Ruach takes us deeper and deeper into this communion with the Spirit of God that is there in all experiences. Within the breath of God, within the Ruach of God, is forgiveness and love and joy, and more than anything, the perfect grace. The perfect grace of the Spirit of God. So let's take that into the silence. And let's just imagine that we are filled with the Ruach of God in the silence. Spirit of God, breath of God, take me deeper. Take me into communion with who and what I really am. And so it is, God. So it is. Namaste.
The breath of God is breathing me and resting in the breath of God. I know that all is well. The breath of God is breathing me and resting in the breath of God. I know that all is well.
Oh, hi, Tanya. How are you?
Wonderful. And yourself?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thanks.
Good, good.
Yeah. Now, how many times a day do we repeat that, right? Hi, Bill. Hi, Jim. Hi, Frank. How are you? Oh, I'm fine. How are you? You know, we say it so often, don't we? That sometimes we get a little cynical. Sometimes somebody says, hi, how are you? And you go, you don't care. But of course we do. Actually, there's a name for communication like that. When we say, hi, how are you? I'm fine, how are you? And it's called phatic communication. And phatic communication just means that the fact that I'm saying something means more than the content. Means more than what I'm saying. Because wouldn't it be weird if Tanya and I are friends and we pass in the hallway out there and she goes, "Hi, Dennis, how are you?" And I just walk on by, without saying, we'd know that, well, that was weird, and we know something wasn't quite right. We really depend on emphatic communication. I think that's almost more important than the content itself at times. It's interesting, I think, because I wanted to talk today about connecting with the Spirit of God and what it's like when we're in deep grief. Because can you imagine if Tanya and I pass here at church in the hallway or something, and I say, "Hi, how are you?" And she says, "Fine, how are you?" And we keep walking. And maybe she or I are in really deep grief about something. Isn't it easy to cover up? I mean, and of course, we've all done that where we didn't know what to say or what to do, and we didn't want to burden the other person, or we didn't think it was the right time or the right place. I think it gets hard sometimes to talk about it when we're in deep grief. And yet, it becomes really important for us to uncover a part of ourselves, to reveal a part of ourselves. I think that unity, in my opinion, unity is a place to be real. That's what I like about it. Now, do we put the emphasis on the positive? Sure, of course we do. It's one of the things I like about the place. Yeah, we're trying to be more positive. But when we use that as a cover-up, that's not authentic. So I think unity is a place to be real when we're in good spirits and when we're in grief. And I like to focus on both. But today I'm going to be talking about grief and what that experience is like. But I think we make decisions, don't we, about when we share and when we don't share. We make decisions about if I'm experiencing grief and somebody says, "How are you?" And we try to decide, is this the right time? Is this the right place? Is this the right person? Is our relationship at that level where I can actually share some of the tough stuff? Now, for a few people, they don't care what level the relationship's at. "Hi, how are you?" "Well, God, let me tell you." And that's when we want to go, no, it was phatic only. Yeah. I like unity because I do think it's a place to be authentic, a place to be real, and yeah, we focus on the positive. When I was asking Tanya a couple days ago, I said, "How would you like to be in a 3-second skit with me?" And she said, "Okay." And I explained to her what I was talking about. And she raised, for me, an interesting point. She said sometimes even when she sees that somebody else is down, she said, "I like to be positive and upbeat anyway to see if I can lift them." I thought that was really good, Tanya. I really appreciated that. But I do think that what we want to do is, when we're being authentic, when we're being real, what we do want to make sure is that we don't use that phatic communication as kind of a cover-up. Where we encourage people to paper over their real feelings and emotions. Because, man, we're all going through life together, aren't we? And the real world is we have some challenges, we have some tough things. All of us have the death of a spouse, the loss of a job, some financial challenges, some things in our lives that didn't work out like we thought they were going to. We go through a divorce, a spouse cheats on us. And to say, oh, whatever happened, my child died, God's will, God's will. It can be really phony. Instead, what we want to do is to say to ourselves and to a few select others, we want to talk about that grief experience and what that really means. And some of us have been taught that we never share any kind of hard, tough feelings. And being a guy, yeah, I mean, I'll fess up. Yeah, it tends to be more the guys than the women who have been taught, no, I'm not really supposed to share what's deepest inside when it's a tough thing. Well, there's times to share, and that act of sharing is an expression of love. That act of sharing when things aren't good, when things are challenging. Wow, it can really make us grow. And I think what will happen is it deepens our relationship with someone else. So we have to be good talkers about what's real, but I think we need to be really good listeners too. I go over to the hospital and I visit people, I don't know, a couple times a week. And sometimes I'm tempted to say, hey, how you doing? And of course, how dumb would that be, right? And so we do want to make sure we talk about what's sincere and what's real. Here's what I want you to know, that the Spirit of God, deep inside us, knows what's real. Couldn't be any other way, could it? The Spirit of God, deep within us, knows every tear that we cry. And I think if we're really in to a deep communion with the Spirit of God, then I think what happens is we understand that when tough things happen, to commune with the Spirit of God in prayer or meditation or just being. God is not necessarily there to fix things. Could be. But I think lots of times God is just there to say, I get you, and I understand you, and I'm with you. And that makes sense because sometimes life just shows up. Life just shows up in some really tough experiences. You know, somebody breaks our heart, a child goes to jail, a good friend is deeply into drugs. Sometimes tough stuff just shows up, and I think the Spirit of God, when we're on top of our game, we get it, that God's not there to fix it, necessarily. Instead, God is just with you. Saying, hey, let's just be with each other. Let's just get it in ways that we can hardly describe. That I think is the Spirit of God's role at times. Because, I mean, I like the idea that life's experiences happen and we can learn lessons from them. I think that's good. I think that's really good. But I don't think that life's experiences happen to teach us a lesson. Life's experiences happen, and then if we're smart, we learn a lesson from it. But I used to think, oh, okay, experiences happen, and they happen to teach me a particular lesson. And I realized how ego-based that was. So somebody passes away, and I say, oh, they passed away to teach me this lesson. Who do I think I am? Right? who do I think I am that God would set up a situation where I'm going to make that person die so you'll be better? No, I think this person dies and we can learn a lesson from it. But that's much different than saying this person died in order to teach me a specific lesson. I think that's why the Spirit of God just, in deep grief, just communes with us. It says, we're gonna get this together. We're gonna understand this together. And when that happens, that is a deep understanding of grief. See, I think it's really easy to say that grief, or sadness, or anger, or fear, I mean, isn't it really easy to label those as negative emotions? They're not exactly negative emotions, not exactly. Because negative, at least for me, implies, well, that was wrong, or it was bad, or that shouldn't, you shouldn't feel sad, or you shouldn't feel angry. And it's kind of like, no, they're not exactly negative emotions. They're emotions kind of from the other side of life. Yeah, and man, it just tears us apart sometimes, doesn't it? And so then our role becomes to just ask, these emotions I'm feeling, are they authentic? That's the first question. Is this real? Is this sadness, or this grief, or this anger, this loss, is it authentic? I think we ought to be asking that question ourselves all the time when we go into a grief experience. Second question we ask is what I'm doing, does it match what's going on? And what I mean by that is, if we lost a job that we really liked, that's pretty tough, and it has implications financially, doesn't it? But that's not quite the same as losing a child. And so we have to ask, the experience that I'm feeling right now, does it match up with what's going on? And then I think the third thing we have to ask when we start talking about sadness or grief is, have I stayed there too long? I mean, it's so easy to just make it a really vicious cycle, isn't it? And what's too long? Who knows? I mean, that's a call that only each individual can make. But at the same time, if somebody's talking about a divorce that they went through 25 years ago, and it changed my life, well, yes. Yes, it did. And that doesn't make it bad, but what it says is, maybe it's time to recover. Maybe it's time to find some new ways of living in this world. So when it gets to those experiences of sadness or grief or anger or loss, those are three pretty good questions to ask ourselves. One of the phrases, one of the topics that's been popular for a long time has been the long, dark night of the soul. And what does that mean? Well, it was a phrase created by St. John of the Cross. He was a Spanish priest, and he created a poem in the 1500s where he talked about the long, dark night of the soul. And what St. John of the Cross said was, at that time, it was not a bad thing. It was not supposed to be that you're going through this torment. It just meant it was just a very specific kind of passageway, not necessarily a bad passageway. Well, that's not the way we refer to it today. I mean, now we go, oh boy, the long, dark night of the soul is a really tough time. And it's torment, it's grief, it's anger, it's sadness, it's loss. Well, I think one of the things that we can look at now is when tough experiences have happened and we're trying to figure them out and we're trying to figure out what to do next. I think one of the things we can look at is it's a crisis of faith. I mean, we're here on a Sunday morning. We're here on a beautiful Sunday morning. And so I got to believe that, most of you probably really searching for the Spirit of God, right, in your life. Maybe not everybody. I have a list of the ones who. But for all of us, there can be times when some tough things have happened, and we start having a crisis of faith. We start asking, what kind of God could do this? And one thing I know for sure is, if you haven't asked that question yet in your life, you will. Because again, tough experiences happen to us all. But then I come back to that communion with the Spirit of God. I think on that long, dark night of the soul, that's where we search for God. That's where we search for that guardian angel. That's where we search for the spirit of love and passion deep within us. And say, okay, yeah, this is a crisis of faith. And yet, even though I'm questioning my faith, here is this experience, this feeling, this emotion from the Spirit of God over here, and somehow they go together. And so it makes it a perfect way to question and challenge a crisis of faith. Is to say, yeah, God's there. God, in some way that I can't explain, God's there. I think what it then becomes is the growth of our soul, the growth of our spirit. When we say, wow. You mean, when things were pretty good, and I could thank God for that, and the Spirit of God seemed to be showing up when things were pretty good, that's cool. Now that I've had some of the most gut-wrenching experiences of my life, I mean, God was still there, even in that. What a growth possibility to say, oh, the Spirit of God shows up everywhere in life. In his original poem, St. John of the Cross said, the long dark night of the soul is a period of unselfing. Isn't that a cool phrase? A period of unselfing. And what he was saying is there comes a time when what you have to do is strip away all the ornaments of self, all the things that have kept you from what's real, all the things that have acted like a filter, filtering out what got in the way of a real connection with the Spirit of God. I really like that phrase, a period of unselfing. To say, okay, here's some parts of me that I thought was the real me, and I think I'm discovering they're not. Or, here's some parts of me that have worked really well for the last 20 years, and now they just get in the way of really experiencing God. That's where we say, okay, the job that I had, or the relationship that I had, or the way I approached church, or the way I approached illness, it worked for a while, but now it's not working. And so it's stripping away those parts that no longer work anymore. That's that period of unselfing. And I think when we are successful in stripping away so many parts of ourselves that are no longer working, you know what we get to discover? The eternal grace of God. That eternal grace that it never goes away. It never changes. Our understanding of it changes. That it shows up almost regardless of the situation. It shows up almost regardless of how we've been. when you think about some of the grief-filled experiences you've had, the Spirit of God still shows up. When we think about some of the really poor choices we've made in our life, mostly me, but what that says is, oh, the Spirit of God still shows up. That grace of God is forever. It's more than forgiveness. Grace means I'm with you, and I commune with you, and I'm going to walk the path with you. I'm going to take you so deep in our friendship between God and you. I'm going to take you so deep you won't have words for it, which is perfect. Absolutely perfect. Because words get in the way. Instead, we are just with the Spirit of God, and the Spirit of God is with us. And that is the eternal grace. And so what happens is we just keep discovering that no matter what we do or how we walk through this life, if we open our eyes, if we open our heart, yeah, the Spirit of God's there. And all we got to do is look and ask and listen. And here's what's guaranteed. The Spirit of God will take us places that we've never known before. And so it is. Namaste.
good and light. Come to the Lord, the Lord. Come to the water. Come to the Lord.
Hey everybody, it's love offering time and it's sharing of the green. If you can share some of your financial blessings with the church, it's greatly appreciated. Now, if this is your first time here, please know that we don't ask you to give. Instead, we ask you to be our guest. If you're watching online, you can contribute by clicking the Give button on the website streaming window, and the offering will be secure. Now, we always have someone from the congregation who reads our Sunday prosperity blessing. Today, it's Scott O. Hickson.
Morning. I was asked not to tell a joke, so it's this is an Irishman on vacation. Okay. Whether you're watching from home.
Oh, go ahead, tell the joke.
Oh, you want me to tell the joke? Okay. An Englishman, an Irishman, and a Scotsman all walked into an Irish pub one day, and they all asked for a pint of Guinness. And as the pints were placed upon the table, something strange happened. A fly landed in each one of the glasses. And the Englishman would just look down at the fly and says, "I want another. This is not acceptable." And then the Scotsman, he says, "Ah, this'll do." And he drank it down. And the Irishman, he picks up the fly and says, "You spit it out now." So, that was my joke. And whether you're watching from home or you're here in person, we've reached out at the time of service that we ask you to share for your financial blessings. It's important to the church. And remember that even in the toughest of times, when in moments that tear at our hearts, it is good to know that we are all in this world together. Let's take care of each other, because when we help each other, the very act of doing so soothes the troubled waters and gives us hope and courage. And so it is, God, so it is. Namaste.
Ooh, let's sing again. Yay. I've got a river of life flowing out of me, makes the lame to walk and the blind to see, opens prison doors, sets the captives free. I've got a river of life flowing out of me. Spring up a well within my soul. Spring up a well and make me whole. Spring up a well and give to me that life abundantly. I've got a river of life flowing out of me, makes the lame to walk and the blind to see, opens prison doors, sets the captives free. I've got a river of life flowing out of me. Spring up a well
My wife missed the last couple of Sundays, and when she's not here, I never remember to put my check in. So she made 3 up today. Join me in a little prayer of thanksgiving, please. It's the Spirit of God. We do say thank you for these financial gifts. They're important to the church. But what's far more important is that we understand the role of the deep Spirit of God so within us, that takes us by the hand, takes us by the heart in the toughest of times, in the grief-filled times, and just soothes us and lets us know it's going to be okay. And so we say, thank you, God. You touch us. And so it is. Amen. Let's bring our kids in.
And I'm gonna let it shine, this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine, this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. My sisters and my brothers, we're gonna let it shine. My sisters and my brothers, we're gonna let it shine. My sisters and my brothers, we're gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
So Amber's taking a vacation today in Portland. And so Nancy, what did the kids learn about today?
Well, you'll have to ask them yourself. We talked about understanding, and Chase is going to read the affirmation.
I understand when I pay attention.
I understand. I pay attention.
I can understand when I feel how people feel.
I can understand. I feel how people feel.
And you guys can go back to your
Okay.
peoples.
Hi. Okay. Let's get the kids all seated here first. Let me invite you to stand, and if you want to, and join hands, we'll sing our closing peace song. And if you would you join us in our prayer for protection? Together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thanks for being here today, and now go enjoy the sunshine.